Hey guys, I know it's been a while since you've heard from me, and I promise my silence has not been in vain. I really just been taking this time to spend it with my family, to really enjoy the time that we have together, and really just dig into who God is and um, let my heart be able to process everything. I know we've all faced just a bunch of stuff these last few months, and I felt like it was really important for me to get along with God and spend that intentional time so that I could process it correctly. And also be intentional about the time that I have with my kids because it's 24/7 now, and it has been for a long time. And I felt like I was, um, just going through the motions, just getting day by day, and it all felt the same. And I'm like, yeah, I need to really just focus on, spending that intentional time with my family too. So, I apologize for, um, not sending out as frequent of encouragement videos to you guys, but the Lord has really been speaking to me in this time, and I wanted to share some things with you in what I felt like He's revealed to me, and just reminded me of His goodness. So my devotional came in. I don't know if you've seen any of my posts, but I wrote my very own devotional. It's called Uncharted Waters. And in it is just different sections of kind of walking through what it looks like to face the unknown without fear. And this devotional honestly has been on my heart for over a year now. The actual content was written right at the beginning of all this pandemic stuff, and I felt like now's the time, And so I started just digging out past things that I had blogged and written down in my journal and different stuff, and I pulled it all together and I put together this short little devotional just to speak to the times we're in now. And I'm telling you, as I was walking through it, it was just as powerful for me as I think it will be for you. And so, if it's something that you think you would love to get, you can get it on Amazon, or you can, if you want a signed copy, I am selling them on my website, and I would be happy to sign it and send it to you. So you can go on my website, beanovercomerministries.com. There's a merch link, and you'll see it in there, and you can buy it that way too, whatever is easiest. But when they came in, I was signing all the pre-orders, right? And I started signing each of the ones of the people that had pre-ordered. And I picked up this one, and I felt like, gosh, this is a bit, thicker than the other ones. It's strange, and I start flipping through it, and lo and behold, Amazon printed the arthritis diet right in the middle of my devotional. And I was laughing so hard, thinking, what in the world? It was like, it's smack right in the middle of my devotional. It's like right after one of the sections. And I just was laughing, thinking, oh my goodness, how funny is it if somebody like picked this up and they're, getting ready to get into the word, and they open up the next section and it starts talking about, an arthritis diet. Oh man. And so, yeah, a part of me was a little frustrated. I'm like, really? But then I was just thinking, what if somebody bought the arthritis diet on Amazon and they got a little bit of my devotional inside their book? How awesome would that be if God used that to speak to them, So you never know, how God will use the unexpected. And so that's kind of what prompted me to share today about kind of embracing the unexpected. Because sometimes, we're faced with unexpected circumstances, right? And I know we are all in that right now, right? We're living in a season right now that just feels weird. I don't know how to explain it, but just like something, is this really happening, right? And it takes me back to when the accident first happened. And I remember days upon days and weeks upon weeks where I was asking myself, like, did this really happen? Like, am I really in this situation? Am I going to be an amputee for the rest of my life? Like, it was so strange and foreign to me that I couldn't quite wrap my head around it. And there were a lot of times where I would just cry at the drop of a hat, not necessarily because I was this emotional wreck that, couldn't process it, but it was just like these emotions were building in me that I didn't quite know how to work through them all. And when I would cry, it was like I was just so overwhelmed at that I was here and alive, but then also at the thought of, how do I do this, right? And so it was like these mixed emotions of being grateful that I was here, but also like, Lord, how am I going to do this? And I feel like that's the state that a lot of us are in right now, right? Like, we're in this state of, I'm grateful that, we're walking through this, and most of you are in healthy situations, and, that we have these times with our kids that, I have to look at it from that angle, but then I'm also like, how is this going to work? Like, I don't know about you, but I still don't know what we're going to do with school. How is this going to work in the end? Like, what is this going to look like long term? And it starts really nagging at you. And that's honestly why I had to take a break and just say, you know what? I need to remind myself of who God is, because regardless of the situation, regardless of what seems to be hopelessness, what seems to be that my mind can't wrap around, He is still there, and He is still good, and He is still my comforter, and He's still my healer, and He's still my hope. And so I have to root myself in who He is. Otherwise, the calamity and the chaos of what's going on can really just overtake you. And I felt myself getting that, in this season. And so that's why I had to just take a pause, And so I wanted to share with you a scripture that really just breathed into me and where I was at, and hopefully it'll do the same for you. It's Hebrews 10, starting at verse 21. And it says, "And since we have a great high priest who rules over God's people, let us go right into the presence of God with true hearts, fully trusting Him." Oh, I love that. "For our evil consciousness have been sprinkled with Christ's blood to make us clean, and our bodies have been washed with pure water. Without wavering," verse 23 says, "let us hold tightly to the hope we say we have, for God can be trusted to keep His promise. Think of ways to encourage one another to outbursts of love and good deeds. And let us not neglect our meeting together, and as some people do, but encourage and warn each other, especially now that the day of His coming back again is drawing near." Man, that's a lot to unpack, but I think for me, what really stood out is God can be trusted. He will keep His promises, right? And we need to cling to that hope, because we can't cling to hope in what the situation is right now. We can't cling to the hope of that our masks are going to protect us in every way. Like, we can't cling to the hope of, that if we homeschool, then it's going to be okay, and nothing else will be wrong. And we can't cling to the hope that, like, if we just get back to the normalcy of what it used to be, then we'll be fine. Like, none of that, whether it's, these are good things or not, like, none of that is gonna matter. None of that will bring the true hope that we need. The hope that we need is that the Lord is in control. And we have to remind ourselves of that. And I love how verse 24 says, "Think of ways to encourage one another." So that is my challenge for you and for me. How can we encourage each other during this time? How can we reach out to each other and encourage our brothers and sisters, our good friends, the people that are close to us, maybe people that have been maybe in the back of our mind that keep coming to the forefront. How can we encourage them? And I do want to say that, verse 25 says, don't neglect meeting together. Now, I know meeting together looks much different than it used to, but it doesn't mean we need to neglect it. And I'll tell you, isolation is killer. And I think that's why a lot of us, including me, was struggling a bit with this whole quarantine life, is because you're isolated with just, a few people that, you were in your family or, whatever you guys decided. And we weren't meeting, on a regular basis for church. And I wasn't, meeting with my small group. And it was like that distance really wreaked havoc on me. And I really didn't realize how vital it was for me to be in community and keep being in community until it's taken away, And so I think that really taught me, I know I love community, I knew that already, but when you don't have it and it's taken away, it just brought it more to light of how much the Lord has made us for community. And so I don't know what that looks like for you. It may be still a virtual thing. It might be some FaceTiming. It might be, some Zooming or some phone calls or whatever. And that's fine, but don't neglect meeting together. Don't isolate yourself, because that's when hopelessness creeps in. And that's kind of how you face the unknown, is digging into the hope we have in Jesus and embracing that unexpected, because God can bring the greatest things out of unexpected things. And, one of the things that happened to us during this time of unexpected is, we've been able to take some fun family vacations out in the middle of nowhere where, we're alone, kind of isolated with each other, but able to spend some quality time with each other that, we really desperately needed. And I don't want to take that for granted. And that's that, looking at the unexpected, that blessing that comes out of the unexpected, right? We weren't expecting to do all of this, but we made the most of it. And so I really think it's important that we, focus on those things, when we're struggling with that hopelessness that tries to creep in. So be encouraged today. Know that our hope is in Jesus, and remember to hold tightly to it, just like verse 23 says, and know that He's for you. He's not against you, and that we can be assured that He's fighting this battle with us and for us, and that we can trust Him because He keeps His promises. Be blessed, guys. It's so good to finally be able to share with you again. And I pray that you are well, and that you're encouraged today.